Hi, it's Miss Jenifer from Somerset Academy of Music, and today we're going to be talking about stem direction. So first off, we want to remember that the circle part of the note is called its head, and the line part is called the stem. Now, stem direction is what we're going to be talking about today. And we want to remember that stems come down on the left, and they go up on the right. So you want to think of the notes that they're like the letter P and D's, not Q's and B's. So this is the wrong way to do stems. This is correct. Down on the left, up on the right. Okay, so for simple music notation, we're going to base everything on the middle line of the staff. On either staff too, this is true. These rules will be true for treble or bass. So what we want to know is that note heads that are below this third line of the staff, their stem direction should go up. And stems, by the way, should be an octave long. So for example, I've drawn this note head on the E line, and therefore my stem should reach all the way up into the E space, making it 1 octave long. Now, if a note head is placed above the middle line, then the stem direction should go down, and it should be an octave. So this is an F, so I want to make sure that my stem comes down and reaches into the F space, F line and F. It's all based on the heads of the notes. So if the note heads are below this middle line, you're going to make your stem go up an octave. Okay, like that. Now, if your stems are above the middle line, we're going to go down an octave with those stems, like this. And all of this is really for neatness sake. We want to make the music as legible as possible, and these rules are what helps us do that. Now, let's look at notes if they're on the middle line. So what do we do if a note is on the middle line? Most of the time, if a note is on the middle line, you're going to make the stem go down. There are, of course, exceptions to that. And that is going to be if the other notes that the note is with, the other notes surrounding or near it, if they're going up, then it is a good idea to make the middle line note go up as well, just again for neatness and legibility. But if all the other notes are going down, or if you have a mix, then the note on the middle line, the stem will generally go down. As with most things in music, there can be exceptions to the way we write things. And one of those exceptions would be, if we look at these notes, we have 3 notes that are going down, and this one, because it is below the middle line, its stem should go up. But let's say these are 8 notes, and we're going to beam them. We wouldn't want to have 1/8 note with a stem going the other way. It would be much easier if we beamed these notes so that they all went the same direction. So what we would do with this note is bring this stem down, and again, we would break the rule of the stems being about an octave and maybe make them a little bit longer like that, so we could beam them like this. And again, that's going to be so much nicer than having 8 notes. It's going to be easier to read, because our other option for this would be to beam the notes this way. And that's acceptable, but you can see, just for neatness sake, it looks a whole lot nicer on the score, and it's going to be easier to read than this. Although this absolutely is a possibility in music. Another exception for stem direction would be note duration. We can't beam, or rather, we can't put 2 notes that have different values on the same stem. So for example, a half note and a quarter note can't share a stem. That would be very confusing as to what note it would be. So that would be in a case where we have also multiple parts happening on one line. We've got 4 quarter notes that are being played at the same time as these 2 half notes. Their stem direction has to be different. And if we put them in the same direction, this would be very confusing. If we had the stems going up and down here, it would just be a big sloppy mess, and you really would be unclear about what was to be played. Another exception for piano music would be when we have 2 hands playing on one staff. As you can see here, this big chord, we couldn't play it all with just our right hand. So what they've done here is made these 2 bottom notes were indicated that we're going to play with our left hand because we have the down stem. So this kind of stem going in opposite directions helps you know that something different needs to happen. A lot of times, if a stem direction is going other than based on the middle line, it can be because the composer or the music is trying to draw your attention to that. And in this case, it would be that they want you to play these 2 notes with your left and these with your right. And the same thing would happen if this continued on and they wanted you to continue playing this with your left hand. Even if we just had a left hand part here, and it was playing single notes, we would still do our down stems down, indicating that this is going to be with your left hand, and this, if it continued on up here perhaps, would be with your right hand. Another thing you might see on a musical score, specifically for piano, is something like this. So this isn't necessarily with one hand. This could still be played with the left hand and this with the right hand, but what they've done here is that they are combining eighth notes with one stem, rather than having to write this out with rests and flags and things. This again just makes a neater, more easy to read, more legible score. So your left hand would play this B here, and then your right hand traveling on up to those notes. And another way that they could write this, you could see how it will be a little more complicated, is they could have the B here with a flag, then we'd have to have an eighth rest, and then we could, there's a couple different ways we could do this, but they will probably have the other notes notated this way. And you can see the difference. This is exactly the same thing happening here, but just much simpler, cleaner way to write it this way, rather than all the flags and the eighth rest and things. Oh, and yes, we would actually have to have some rest down here. That's in the wrong spot. We would have to have some more rests down here as well. So you can see, same thing, much, much easier to read when you see this as opposed to that. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful. And if you liked my video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Also, if you have any other musical topics that you have questions about and you'd like for me to make a video about that topic, go ahead and leave that in the comments below. And as always, have a nice day. Bye-bye.